for watching Mommy Did You Know? So for today, I was just going to discuss inductions and augmentations, and just pretty much why would we sometimes augment or induce somebody, what would it entail, what to expect, and what does it mean for you and your baby. So some people might ask, why would I be induced? So usually people are not induced until 39 weeks. If it is an induction before 39 weeks, it's usually some sort of issue, maternal issue or baby issue. So when that happens, usually it's like high blood pressure or IUGR, let's say the baby's not growing, or you have some sort of issue between mom or baby, then they might induce. Induction is different than augmentation. And augmentation is basically you've started your labor, but for whatever reason you just need a little bit extra push, which is fine. Usually with that, your cervix has already started to ripe, you're starting to be effaced, is what they call it, is when your cervix starts getting ripe and soft. Sometimes you might even have some dilation. In augmentation basically just entails maybe sometimes a little bit of Pitocin, relaxing mom, and then usually she'll be able to progress through her labor a lot faster. If it's less than 39 weeks, but you have no problems with the mom or you have no problems with baby, unless your waters have broken already, usually in augmentation they'll like to wait until 39 weeks. And they'll do a few things to try to speed up the process. You know, you can walk, they might do stripping of the membranes, which is when your doctor comes and he strips a little bit. He'll go inside, it's a little uncomfortable, but some doctors do like that too. So if you do, you can talk about that with your OB. So in induction, basically the difference between that is that means your body has not started the laboring process. You have not started ripening in your cervix and you have not started dilating. When that occurs, we need to give you something to ripen your cervix, a cervical ripening. Sometimes it can be through Cervidil, or sometimes they'll do a Foley catheter balloon, basically where, let's say, they'll say, okay, come to the hospital, 6 p.m. They'll insert a catheter balloon, they'll insert a cervix to kind of ripen your cervix. Then after that, they'll let it sit about 12 hours or so. They'll come by and then they'll see how you're progressing. Usually they'll want to see some progression. The only thing is a lot of times, sometimes if you are being induced with the Cervidil and then continuing with Pitocin and whatever other methods that they're using, sometimes your contractions are a lot stronger than they would have been if you had delivered naturally. So for me, that was actually a huge surprise, because with my first, I did not realize that. And I had only been a nurse for a little bit, and I had only been postpartum, so I didn't know much about labor and delivery. So then with my first, I was induced at 39 weeks. And I didn't really know much about it, so I came in and man, it was intense. At first I didn't want an epidural, but that's gonna be another session. We're gonna talk about epidurals and pain management, but I ended up getting an epidural because those contractions were intense. But I noticed that with my second baby, it was completely different. I had gone into labor by myself, and the contractions were much more controllable and manageable. I still got an epidural just because that was my decision, and everyone has their own decisions. But I noticed the contractions were faster and the labor was a lot faster. My first, I was in labor for about 18 hours. My second was about 5, so it was a huge difference there. So with inductions, you'll notice the labor is longer, your contractions are a lot stronger. Another thing is, whenever you are talking about a longer labor, sometimes your baby is at a higher risk of having infection if your water were to break over 18 hours before you deliver. For example, let's say they bring you in, your water breaks, and then you don't deliver for 20 hours, which sometimes happens. Whenever that baby is not sitting in that bag of waters to protecting that baby, there's a lot of things that can come in, enter your uterus, and attack your baby. So what happens is a lot of those babies are actually at a higher risk of having infection workups, also called a sepsis workup. Usually our baby's lab work are heel sticks, but if you are to have a baby that has an infection workup, actually your baby might have a venous stick, which is a big difference than if you did not have a baby that had a sepsis workup. So these are just some things to look out for, just because a lot of people don't really realize with inductions, although they are necessary, it is important to know what to expect. Because the last thing you want is to go in the hospital expecting, okay, I'm gonna be induced, it's gonna be great, I'm gonna deliver in 6 hours, and it's gonna be beautiful, and I'm gonna come out looking like a model. It's not necessarily how it's gonna be. So you're gonna come in, they're gonna ripen your cervix, they're going to try to soften your cervix, and then hopefully your cervix will dilate. Usually they will give you Pitocin, which is pretty much man-made oxytocin. Some things that can help you as you go through your induction process, you can try to make sure that you're calm, that you're using breathing exercises. Make sure also that in your room you have the right people. I just want to mention that. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know I'm talking to someone right now. But make sure that you have the right people in that room that's not going to be stressing you out, that's not going to be saying, oh yes, don't worry, I was in labor for 36 hours with you, if you know what I mean. So just be very careful. Make sure you have a calm environment. Music helps. And you can talk to your nurse about, and your physician as well, about what your preferences are. So I just really hope that I opened your eyes onto what happens when you have an induction or an augmentation, so that you can kind of make informed choices as well. If there's nothing wrong with you and the baby, it is recommended to wait until 39 weeks. If your doctor is recommending an induction before 39 weeks, it most likely is because of a maternal or baby reason, in which case it's very important that you follow your doctor's recommendations and be open and have clear communication. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of great videos that I want to share with you guys, and I look forward to having a wonderful relationship with you all. Thank you very much.